right.
Happy day,
I
day
think
after Halloween.
my microphone is haunted. It's I've had a lot of problems getting this audio going. Seems like we are going now. Welcome to Over 50. Starting over, everyone. I'm Barry Edwards.
And I'm Merle Garrison.
And coming at you with a Halloween special. So lots of little goblins going around over here technically right now. And we have a hard stop in 54 minutes. So we really have to get going. There's not just the Halloween stuff. I want to talk about exorcisms, ghosts, evil entities,
Wow.
demons. Yeah. I want to talk about it
How
from a
fun.
number of angles. We
Okay.
also have some current events we're going to have to fly through towards the end. I want to play some quick videos of Biden sucking on a kid's feet. Biden talk
saw
about
that.
Trump supporters being garbage. Trump in a
Okay.
garbage truck. That's not that exciting. And Mark Cuban calling women that surround Trump dumb. So it's light stuff, but like, wow, man. I don't know what to say about that lowbrow stuff.
Well, it's interesting. It's all heading into the election, which is only days away, and there's a lot of rhetoric coming at us that is very negative, dark, and hateful, especially from one particular party. But both sides aren't innocent on this, and
No,
this
they're
is
not.
what we get. This is what we get every time. Every time, it's like I can't wait till this is over. But is it ever really
Same.
over?
Right.
But hey, man, just going on that Halloween thing. We do you get trick-or-treaters come to your door?
We do not put the lights on. We don't
Oh,
participate.
gotcha. We
Mhm.
do, and we've got a great neighborhood for that over here. People are on golf carts and they drive around the neighborhood with loaded with kids, and then they drop them off in front of the house, and the kids come out and deploy to get all their candy. It's pretty cool. It kind of makes you feel good. I saw a lot of cool little costumes and everything. Nothing really scary. Everything was more
Good.
everybody was trying to dress up like some kind of TV character or movie character or
Good.
whatever. Everybody was really polite. However, we did have a strange event happen at the end. A teenage girl, ended up really passing out in front of our yard, and
What?
her friends, they said that she ate something, that she was gluten intolerant, and that she had some candy.
Wow.
It seemed kind of suspicious though, but we ended up having to call the ambulance, and the parents were here and everything. It was a big to do, and it was kind of crazy because I wasn't sure exactly what was going on, and I thought maybe could this possibly be a fentanyl overdose or something. And
Oh,
everybody was acting kind of crazy. There were four girls. They were one of them was on the ground in the gravel, actually. She threw up several times. I thought maybe she was drunk, but I didn't smell alcohol. She was panicked. She talked about she didn't want to die. I ended up having to pray over all of them, actually. Amazing what happens with prayer, and how a very tense and anxious situation when the Lord is introduced, calms down very quickly. Anyway, the end of the story looked good. The fire department showed up. The girl, all her vitals checked out, and they ended up lifting her up into the parents' car, and they drove her home. So I think there
wow.
was some alcohol involved in that whole thing, but
How old was this
really,
girl?
she looked like she was maybe 16 or 17.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Wow, very unfortunate. What
Well,
brought
it was
up
pretty
this
pretty exciting.
What brought up this whole idea, talk about ghosts and goblins and all that stuff, is I just listened to the latest Shawn Ryan show, and he had Dr. Dan Reehil, not doctor, Father Dan Reehil on, who is an exorcist and a Catholic priest and an exorcist. Did you listen to that one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. It
I
was
didn't have a
very,
chance to listen to that. No.
sure, it was very interesting. He mentioned Halloween and said, "Wow, I can't believe people participate in that because it's just a portal for evil entities." Now, I want to be careful. I want to talk about this from a number of angles. And I don't want it to get preachy. I think that is very interesting, and my mind is open to the religious aspect of talking about demons And I could tell you, as I consciously try to battle my impatience or anger, I've been really going next level on this. I do find it easier, whether it's correct or incorrect. I find it easier to personify this as a demon that is trying to take hold of me. And when I see these very challenging circumstances when I'm driving in my car in certain areas and things are just crazy, like I can't believe this is happening and now this is happening on top, those circumstances, and you want to blow your stack. I'm using the Jocko Willink technique of saying, good, bring it. I appreciate this challenge. I needed this. I'm asking for this, and I will rise above this. And I will harness my gratitude rather than anger today in this instance. It's kind of interesting. Now, I want to bring it to this very interesting idea of possessions, ghosts, evil entities, all of that in whatever way you want to do it. I know that Dr. Dan talked about, I started doing a lot of research, pulling up YouTube videos and all this, trying to find the best evidence I could for this stuff. And I have to say, and I used AI too, evidence is extremely sparse. And when I listened to Father Dan talk about exorcisms that he's done, he's like, oh, yes, of course. First of all, most people are going to claim that it's either a mental illness or a prank or something along those lines. Maybe most of them are. Most of them. But when it's a true possession by a demon, when they possess superhuman strength. He says, I saw a 120-pound girl pick up we always come in with so-called bodyguards, a 300-pound bodyguard by his crotch and throw him 10 yards. He says, another thing is when they start speaking in tongues and they barely can read or write, but now they're speaking perfect Latin. He goes, that's in sometimes 5 different languages in different voices. That's a pretty good sign that it's a possession by a true demon. He says another thing is, he used 2 different terms. One I'm very familiar with, holy water, but another one was some kind of a sacrament, something. He said it was a bread, like a bread, just like you could have blessed water, holy water.
Right.
But he says often he'll interchange just regular tap water or regular bread. And if they have a reaction, so-called reaction to this tap water or regular bread, well, of course, it's a mental illness or hoax. But if they don't know, and he goes, oh, this is exactly what he said. He goes, upon entering a room, I'll often just offer people water, and out of politeness, most everybody accepts a bit of water, and they won't know that it's blessed. And he goes, I've had people go into convulsions, vomiting, and so on when drinking this water. That's a possession, he says. So there are these kind of unique things. And if you listen to Dan, and if you know Shawn Ryan, the ex-Navy SEAL, who, as he says, lost his way with Christianity for a number of years and found his way back about a year ago. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's a straight shooter, and he handles his interview as a straight shooter. It's really compelling. And my point to all this isn't to try to convince anybody of anything. I just find it interesting, just the way I find UFOs and other phenomena like this interesting. I don't know the answers, but I know one thing is there's so many things in this world I don't have the answers to, which is why I'm curious. What do you think about possessions, Merle, exorcisms, and this kind of stuff?
Well, what do I think about them? First off, I believe that it's possible for the devil and his army of demons to be able to impact our lives. It says in the Bible that there's the ability for them to put actual thoughts into our head. And isn't it interesting how when you go to certain areas, it feels like I've almost felt like I've walked into a wall of anxiety before. Like I walked into a room and I felt like there's a presence here. I definitely know that it is indeed true that is a reality. It is something that we have to deal with. And yeah, there's mental health issues that are out there as well.
Sure.
And here's the thing about that is that Satan is the god of confusion, and even when he is able to impact a human being, it may manifest and look like that person is absolutely insane when they're actually manifesting the qualities of Satan and his army. So it can be a very confusing thing. And it can also be, it has been one of those things that has turned off the general public to the point where it has become entertainment and the stuff of movies, so that if a real situation actually happens, people don't actually believe that's what's happening. And
Yeah.
therefore, people can be impacted by an evil spirit or spirits, and other people won't know what to do because they don't believe it has anything to do with anything spiritually at all. And
Yeah.
I think that's an issue out there.
He quoted someone that said, some high up religious figure that said that she believes that this is the most influenced generation in history, a negative, demonically influenced generation in history. You know what that made me think of
That's
immediately,
true.
Merle?
Yeah.
Remember that introduction to the Olympics?
Oh God, that was so dark. I mean, so
Jeez.
dark.
How
And
do
so
you
many
plan that,
symbols.
rehearse that, and record that and think that that's good? That's a good thing to do.
And sometimes as I was watching that, I thought, I wonder if these people actually know what they're doing.
I wondered
That they
that too.
they may not have actually known that they were playing into some type of a satanic kind of a ritual. And I think that happens on both sides. I think that people do things without knowing that they're doing work for the Lord, just like they do things and don't realize they're doing work for Satan as well. We see that kind of thing in the Bible all the time as well, where people have done something and didn't even realize they were fulfilling prophecy.
No.
So this is an interesting topic, and around the Halloween time, I do believe that there's a history around Halloween that it's centered on religion. There's an old Celtic festival that it's pronounced Samhain, and this was like from 2,000 years ago, and the whole thing gets mixed up into religion and the dark side of things, and it's so there is some play here in the dark world of things, and we see that a lot of odd things happen around Halloween. And
Well, that's what Dr. Father Dan, I keep saying Dr. Dan.
I just
Father
got to feel
Dan
like
said
you
that.
know
We had a glitch there.
yeah, yeah, there's something going on here,
Oh,
and
let me tell you this one, Merle. Um,
that is the truth. Go ahead, Barry.
yeah, we got a little funny business going on with our connection. But he said that on Halloween is especially harmful, bad for homeless people. That there's an organization like a satanic group that goes around in vans and says, "Hey, Halloween, we're gonna take you to the soup kitchen, get you some food and shower, wash your clothes, all that." And they actually take them for human sacrifices.
Yeah,
Says it's every
remember
Halloween.
we went to Kent State, and right around Halloween, we would see in the school paper if you had a black cat, that you
Oh
needed to
yeah.
put that cat away,
I hate
because
to
these
mention it.
Satanists would take these animals and they would torture them and they would sacrifice
That's
them. And in
so sick.
fact, Barry and I lived in a house where the owner of the house had two beautiful dogs. One of them was crazy. I think they were both crazy, actually. Those
Oh
those
yeah, yeah,
dogs.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
because they lived with us. But but anyway, both those dogs got abducted right around the Halloween time,
I
and
forgot all about that.
one of them came back. Seagram's came back, and he had a big gash on the side of him, looked like a knife wound. And I remember the owner would keep him out in the pen and the
Yes.
front and the side of the house. And boy, it was only a couple of weeks later that dog disappeared too, and
Oh.
never heard it. But we had seen things over by the river that looked like places where sacrifices took place underneath the bridge. There was a lot of satanic writing, and then evidence of a fire, and looked like animal bones over there as well.
Okay, this is just
Really
getting
crazy,
gross.
crazy stuff. Well, this is what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about the essence of demonic rituals, that's at the very center of it. And that is a danger that everybody should know about, especially pet owners. You got to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
careful with your pets at this time of the year, and
Yeah.
also with your kids.
Yeah. The one thing that bothers me about the possessions, talking about this is I just laid out to you all these different things about, well, they start speaking in different tongues, temperature in the room drops, all that. Where's the video evidence, though? And I know I looked for it in the last few days, but I just saw a lot of fake stuff. And today there's two things going on. A lot of people trying to make fake stuff and passing it off as real. And the other thing is actual special effects. People are putting it out there because it's to see if forensic experts can tell if it's real or not. That's how good it is today. But
Yeah,
I'm always hearing about the levitation and stuff, which seems like from credible eyewitnesses, from credible priests and stuff. Well, where's the video evidence? You know?
I'm getting a smile on my face because I saw a video of some people that were playing a prank on their spouses, where they had something underneath of the bed that they made it look like they were levitating, and they woke up their spouse, and they were all like, "Ooh!" It scared, it scared the crap out of them. That's some dangerous stuff right there, man.
Yeah, that is.
You floating around in the bed.
You made me think of an excellent prank that I did remember. I found a 1 minute short on it. It doesn't do it justice because the original video was 10 years ago, because I found that too, but it was 10 minutes long and I don't want to sift through all that. But it's a prank like one of those hidden video camera things,
Right.
professionally done, of this little girl that's dressed up like a ghoul. Kind of, they use this hidden panel in an elevator. They rigged it so the lights go out and then she comes out of this.
Oh, I saw that.
Did you?
That was what a terrible prank to pull on
Dude,
somebody.
I would
This is it
die.
right here.
I would die.
Too. I would too, and I
think it's only a minute. Look at this. But the full 10-minute one is so worth it.
So the lights go out, and this weird little girl comes in through a trap door, and then the lights come on
and flash. And look how calm she is. And then she screams. Oh, that is so good.
It's diabolical, so man.
Dude,
but I'm sorry. If that happened to me, I would have. Remember that Schlitz malt liquor bull, when you come in, everybody's trying to get out. I would become the bull. That poor little girl. I would probably trample that little girl.
Yeah, I can see that. I gotta be honest with you. Our basement, we got a really big basement and all that. And it's really dark down there. We do not have a light. The dumbest thing, we don't have a light on the stairs. We got to go all the way down the stairs and go trying to find this light and turn the little tiny string on. And I always think if there's one thing that would flip me right out is seeing a little ghost girl that looks all really freaky. Isn't it weird that the most harmless thing is the most scary thing? Or
a little boy in a suit. I mean, that's terrifying. Okay, so out here nobody has basements. It's kind of but it's like back home, the basement, that's like there's so many things happen in your life that revolve around the basement. And for me, this is, my dad was the king of trying to scare people.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
and so there were always like, especially at night, there was always like some kind of house settling noise, like crack. What was that? My dad would say. Everybody, I don't know. It sounded like it came from the basement. Merle, go down there and see what that was. I don't think it was anything, Dad. Go down there. Okay. I go down there, I turn on the light, and I'd start to go down the stairs, and I'd hear him get out of his chair and come towards the, hey, what are you doing over there, Dad? Nothing. I'm just standing here making sure everything's okay. Okay. I'll go down there. I go down there and everything's fine. No, you didn't go around the basement. Well, it looks like it's fine from here. Go all the way around. Okay. So of course, when I was at the zenith of the furthest away from the door, the light would go out and the door would close. I think this is how I became a track star. I, I could I could be to the top of the stairs in about 1.3 seconds.
Oh, that is so
Nothing
funny.
up there. Yeah. Like what?
I heard other stories from you and Scott like that about your dad. Too funny.
He was great. I got another one though.
Well, make it quick. We got it short on time.
All right. He would always think that the house was going to burn down if he set a fire in the fireplace. So one of us would have to sleep in the living room if he had a fire. And on the couch. Of course, it wasn't as he wouldn't do that. It would be me or Scott.
Yeah.
And I remember one time asking my dad, "Well, wait, what if there is a fire and I'm in the fire?" And he said, "Well, your mother and I will hear you scream, and we will get out." Well, anyhow, my brother had bought this mask from the haunted house. It was a full face werewolf mask. And even when he would put that on, it would be scary to me. Like I would know it was him, but he'd move his head around and act all crazy. Well, my dad got a hold of that mask and he would never put a mask like that on. But it was one morning he came. I was sleeping on the couch. You remember he was a huge man. He got in a wrestling breakdown position and went, ha, like that. That's how I woke up. You know how things are kind of blurry when you first wake up? Oh man, I ran to the door. That's how I woke up. I was at the door. Yeah, why would you do that to your son?
Oh, that's borderline cruel, but it gives you a lifelong story, though.
So good. So thank you, Dad, for that Halloween fun.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about ghosts? Do you think ghosts are real?
I don't think that people have the ability to come back. I do not believe that.
There's no evidence.
I see that in the Bible that not possible. However, I do believe in demons, and I do believe that these are eternal beings that know us because they watch us. They know your family. They can imitate, and they can fool you into thinking that someone's come back to life and they have the secret that you need to know, which is going to screw up your life. Don't pay attention to that. If anybody tells you there's a ghost of their parent or whoever it is, it's not true. It's a demonic trick. That's pretty much what I believe.
You know that Father Dan was talking about that. You just made me think of it. I forgot about that. But he was talking about psychics. And I've done a lot of research on that. There are some psychics out there that 100% for sure have gotten information from beyond. He says it's actually coming from demons, though.
Yeah, I totally believe that.
Super careful.
And this is it. You're dabbling in the occult anytime you're trying to contact spirits from the past. You're not talking to spirits from the past, but you are talking to spirits, okay? And these people are in touch with it. These spirits, like I said, they're eternal beings. They know stuff. They've been around for eternity. They can cite facts and figures. They can talk about things that nobody else would know except for that person. They could give you the secret word that, for instance, Houdini had given his wife a secret password because he was into the occult. And so she had found an occultist who got the secret password. Well, how did she get that? Well, because these demons were there when the secret password was given. And so this is how Satan is wily, and so is his army. And they're very clever. and they want to trick you into this whole thing. And so, yeah, I'd be very careful with ghosts.
All right, now that we can get like on a slippery slope, and here's what I mean. Um, so I don't know. I've never known what to think about ghosts either, other than the fact there's like no evidence. You got those ghost shows. I would
Oh,
never
right.
watch
Oh,
those because
did I
there's
tell you?
hmm,
Okay, because we were in Hollywood, right? And Anne Marie worked with a bunch of people in Hollywood. I saw Doc from The Love Boat.
you
Remember that
told
guy?
us that
Okay,
years ago.
yeah, and he was on one of those shows. There was a ghost. He told this terrifying ghost story. I saw him a few months later. I said, Bernie, that was a crazy story. Tell me more about that. It was a script. That never happened.
I know. Is it that seems like it should be illegal if you put it under the guise as being true?
Right. And
Right.
now people believe that really
Uh-huh.
happened, and
Mhm.
and they tell these stories. They're actors. They're great
Mhm.
at telling stories. And
But okay,
I was so mad when he told me that.
let's go to the slippery slope thing where things get like I'm not even sure how to really talk about this and totally take it down a path. I get a little bit there and I lose my way. My point is I think we could both agree that there's positive energy, positive and negative influence in our lives.
Right.
And you can have I could like once a year I'll have a day where everything's going so bad it's like I'm not doing anything else today. I have
Right.
to just let this go. And then conversely, like I do all the repairs and everything on my rental house over there. And once in a while, everything goes right. Like plumbing never goes right for me. But if it does, I'm going to look for everything to fix that day because
Right.
I could fix like 10 times as much as normal when everything goes right. So there's these positive influence, negative influence. People attribute it to the way the stars are aligned or whatever. But what about and so sports teams? When our football, you're watching a football game, you're really into it, you love it, and you're like, everybody says this, the most hardened skeptic of, oh, I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in angels, I don't believe in demons, none of that. Oh, like the momentum on this game. You see it, the momentum's gone, the momentum has changed. Dude, what are you talking about? Explain what you're talking about. What do you mean momentum? What is that?
Well, I mean, are
If
you
you
is
don't believe, if you're a skeptic that doesn't believe in anything, let's take that out of the equation. Just you, Merle. What is that when you're watching a football game and you totally, it's palpable, palpable. You can feel the momentum
you
change.
can feel it. Yeah, I was watching I was watching the Thursday night game last night, and I totally felt that the Jets in the second half
Oh,
had
yes.
the momentum.
Yeah.
And there was nothing that was going to stop that momentum, and it's intangible, right?
Yeah.
You can't
But we
oh, look,
accept
it's
it.
momentum.
We all talk about it like and don't question it. Oh, I
Right.
know what you're talking about. Well,
Yeah.
do you? What the hell are you talking about?
And it seems like what you're relating this to is sort of the spirituality of things that you can't see
Isn't it?
that either.
Is
Yeah,
it?
it seems like they're related to me.
Exactly. So how about let's take it one step further. Both teams are preparing for the game, getting ready to start to play, and they're both praying. Now God
Yes.
has to choose who's going to win or lose.
Is that okay? All right.
Now, okay, so they're playing,
I see where you're going with
and
this.
things are going really well for the offense, like the
Uh-huh.
momentum. They're gaining the momentum. They're like, another good play. I think we'll have this momentum. It's really going like positive. God's on our side. But then you got the defense. Valid human beings over there. They're just fine.
No,
But
no, they're going to hell.
right. Well, they're over there like, man, it's just like nothing's going right over here. What's up with that? So are these good and evil forces at work?
That's a great question. I love
This
that
is
you
what I
asked
mean.
this.
I don't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
where to go with it from there.
This is the kind of stuff we talk about in my Bible study,
Do
actually. Like
you?
we ask the questions you can't ask in church. That's what I love about this.
Where
And
do you take that?
last night I was watching the game and something very interesting. Aaron Rodgers plays for the
I
Jets
love
now.
him. Yeah.
I do too. And I hadn't watched any games at all this year. I really haven't been paying attention to the NFL in years, but I
I
like Aaron.
haven't I haven't been paying attention to the Jets, and I've been wondering heard Aaron has been struggling. Well, he's at the
Yes,
end of his career.
he is. And so it was striking when, by the way, the Jets, they changed up their uniforms a little bit, and I think they look really good. And so then they show Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, and he's got this salty beard, salt and pepper beard in there. Like, who's the old man on the sidelines inside that helmet? Like, oh, that's Aaron Rodgers. I forgot he plays for this team. So now all of a sudden I'm rooting for the Jets to win. And which made it a lot more fun. And boy, did he ever have a bad first half. Just no completions. And the fans, you know how New York fans are, they're like in the fans, boo, like to their own guy, just destroying them.
Dude, I'm just going to interrupt for a second. There's your uniform, and you know what?
That's the old one. That's not the one.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll just stop and not interrupt you. But when they just tweak the color a little bit, that often can take it into super cool land. Tampa Bay.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they did. And you'll see if you check out their new stuff. But then they started talking about Aaron Rodgers. They're 2-6 this year. And Aaron Rodgers was talking about the darkness. This is where I'm going with this. And the darkness of going five games in a row with losses and how dark that is. Here's a guy that's a champion, and he's lost 5 games in a row. And in New York, he's coming from Green Bay to New York, quite a difference in fan base. Yes. And you can't be losing 5 games in a row there. And so what he said was, you've got to embrace the darkness. You've got to get comfortable in that darkness and accept it for what it is. And it was interesting because he goes in at halftime looking like a complete loser. And when he comes back in the next half, everything's hitting on all cylinders. It's like the old Aaron Rodgers. He's making unbelievable completions. I mean, just like everything was. And they end up winning the game.
Oh my God. I was thinking about watching that last night, and I'm like, I won't be able to stay up that late. So there's your uniforms.
It was interesting. Now it's actually a little bit different than that. The helmets are different, a little bit of a different color.
2020. The article said 2024 new uniform.
Interesting. Yeah, they have these green face masks now. That's how I could tell the one difference. Anyway, that's the whole thing is that, okay, so maybe both teams prayed beforehand, but one team did well and another team didn't. What do you think? Did Aaron Rodgers pray those other 5 games that he lost?
No, dude, what you said.
Let me back up. Let me make my point. And here's the thing. He lost those 5 games. Maybe he prayed before that, but there was something in those losses that he learned. There's something that he took out of that it helps a champion rise to the top, right? So you could pray and maybe you lose. But God he's working all things together for good. And so even in the valley, he's going to fortify you with something bigger. You might lose the battle, but you're going to ultimately win the war with the Lord. And that doesn't mean you win every game. And maybe he's got something bigger than the game in the loss.
It probably is in the long run, because I don't think that we can pin a game's winning and losing on
God
spirituality.
Has forsaken me.
Because that means the other team, as you joked, is going to hell or what have you.
They're all going to hell over there.
Right. So we got a lot to cover, and I suppose we need to move on, but I could talk about this a lot longer because
so could I. I could talk about it all day, actually.
Yeah, I could too, because it's fascinating. I wanted to think if there was any final points I wanted to tie up. It's the whole evil entities, the harnessing of positive versus negative energy. You made mention about Aaron Rodgers say that you have to, how he said it was
embrace the darkness.
Embrace the darkness. That's
not that you want to be in the darkness, correct, but embrace it for what it is, and learn from it. Take the lessons and learn from it, because you and I talk about
instead
this all
of denying it. No, it's there.
Yeah. And he eked out a win out of the darkness. That's what happened. And they all came together. They were all in the valley together, but then they ended up on the mountain at the end. I love that kind of
writers play Batman off of that concept a lot in the last 20 years, not since the campy days, but they would say that he has to become the thing in order to beat the thing. In other words, he has to ride right along with evil in order to conquer evil. That's a crazy concept right there.
And you think about like these undercover cops that the what they have to
Oh,
do in
good
order to
point.
defeat evil. Uh, you've got to embed yourself. You almost have to look like them in order to be able to
A lot of
circumvent them.
people get lost in drug addiction as a result.
That's a tough job. I can't imagine having to do a job like that.
I can't imagine anyone being able to do that.
No.
All right, buddy. How about we move along a little bit here? And I got, let's see, which one is this? Because we got 20 minutes and let's get where we can. This is Biden in his press conference where if he uses one more filter, he's going to look like ET.
Let me
Well,
tell
look at
you
his
something.
eyes right there.
That's what I mean.
I don't I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico where I'm in my home state of Delaware.
Spit it
They're
out.
good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of seen as unconscionable.
Okay, I'm going to play this part back again.
Seen as unconscionable.
No,
And it's un-American. His see floating out there is his supporters.
Okay, moral of this story, we all know this. Was it 2 days ago, I think, Biden calls Trump supporters garbage. Arguably worse than Hillary with deplorables. I mean, I can't even believe this, but there is speculation. This is giving Biden's lucidity a little too much credit, maybe, but he's still so pissed about being taken out of power that he's doing some things that intentionally tank Kamala Harris's
seemingly sabotaging Kamala here. Interestingly, she was giving a speech just outside of, he was in the White House and she was outside in the front yard of the White House with a giant speech that she was giving, campaign speech, where she called Trump a fascist and a bigot and a misogynist, the same old stuff.
Same old.
And meanwhile, you could see the window of one of the windows of the White House with the light on, where I could just imagine Joe behind that window sabotaging her with his Latino statements that he was making. And this is bad. I think it's funny because I have the text of what he said here. And the White House tried to clean this up by saying that he was actually talking about this comedian that was at the Madison Square Garden event that Trump had. What's his name? Tony Hinchcliffe. Yeah, and I got to say, what a terrible mistake by the Trump administration, putting that guy out there to begin with. Like, what are you thinking by putting that guy out there? Look at his whole career is about doing really exactly foul stuff. Yeah. And he's done this on both sides of the aisle, and it's rich that the Democrats are coming out and saying, look, he's got hateful language. Well, he was at the Tom Brady roast, and he was, I mean,
it's what he's known for.
This is what he does, right?
It's what he does.
And so it's interesting. I was reading a little bit about that guy, and he grew up in a house. He didn't, his father actually, who he thought he traveled all the time, but he actually was married to another woman and had another family. And so like he would get teased about this in school, and this is how he learned how to roast people. So again, out of a loss, he eked out a win. And paid a ton of money doing this. But,
okay, so I got to say two things about that. First of all, the big sin there, as you said, is the Trump organization having him come out there because that this is going to happen. And maybe they wanted it. Maybe they wanted that kind of press. Here's the other thing, the most important thing. Comedians and artists and artists, comedians and artists, and comedians are artists, are the canaries in the coal mine.
They are, right.
As far as democracy, freedoms go, censorship. And when you start trying to censor comedians, you're on the threshold of authoritarianism. And okay, let me tell you a very quick story. Last night, Halloween, I took Charlie across the street on Scarborough. They turn it into Scareborough on Halloween. The neighbors compete for doing the most scary stuff. Everybody in Cleveland, they shut the street down. Everybody in Cleveland comes there to check out everything. Well, we're walking down there. It's a little early, right? And So we have a nice peaceful walk down this long, long street, and about a quarter of the houses had Harris Waltz signs in it. Not a single Trump sign on the whole half mile that we walked. Not one.
I'm sure. Right.
Only a quarter of the houses had the Harris signs. Do you think there was not a single Trump supporter on that street? Of course, there was.
Yeah.
My point being is about the censorship, the authoritarianism, the non-tolerance you cannot put out a Trump sign. No way would they tolerate that. So it's authoritarian all the way. It is the same thing as shutting down the comedian and saying for the next, they're using that in their talking points that are issued to all mainstream media, roast the Trump campaign about Hinchcliffe's remarks as a comedian making a joke. I see that being very alarming. All of the non-tolerance is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the non-tolerance and the censorship and the gaslighting. It all goes together. And the fact is, can you give me the ability to share, by the way? The fact is that they are changing reality with what their words are. And this was very clear what Joe Biden was saying right here. I mean, you couldn't have been more clear that the way that he said it. But these people, they cannot take responsibility for what they're doing ever. And that's the crazy thing, is that there's a character issue here. You've got to be able to actually just say what the truth is. And and also, just if you make a mistake, just say I made a mistake. But here they can never admit wrongdoing. They always got to be right.
Can you just address the president's comments yesterday referring to Trump supporter as garbage?
A couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Which is why this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
So we'll just stop right there.
Yeah, sure.
The thing is, we hear this kind of stuff all the time. And that's not what he meant to say. Here's what he meant to say. And it's funny because we got that first statement, but then he goes on X and writes this. Earlier today, I referred to the hateful rhetoric about Puerto Rico spewed by Trump's supporter at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage, which is the only word I can think of to describe it. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable. That's all I meant to say. The comments at that rally don't reflect who we are as a nation. Signed, Joe Biden.
Okay, now this is
funny.
I'm doing this only for comedic value. Okay, I'm sharing this only for comedic value. But the heading here is President Biden puts a baby's foot in his mouth at White House Halloween event. Merle, what's up? What? Why?
Okay,
what?
Now if that's your kid, can you imagine? What would you do?
Exactly. This. My reaction is what? I don't have any other reaction. It's just alarming.
I mean, this is interesting, Barry. It's what I think is interesting is here we are in the last week before the election, and it seems like this campaign on Kamala's side is falling apart big time. While at the same time, you've got Trump and JD Vance coming on shows like Joe Rogan. And I did have a chance to listen to about 2 hours of Trump on Joe Rogan. I didn't get a chance to hear everything with JD Vance. However,
Vance was incredible.
I saw some clips with Vance. So here's the thing that I picked up on is that these two guys can sit down for hours and just be themselves and have conversations on a wide range without having guardrails. Like these guys can just talk. They can take criticism. They can think on their feet. But when you take a look at the other side, everything's scripted. And did you hear?
Has to be.
Did you hear what the guardrails that Kamala
Yes, for Rogan. Yes,
Wanted to have with the Joe Rogan interview.
Yeah,
she
we
wanted to have
talked
it.
about it
Only
last
he had to
week.
come to her. Did we? I didn't even know
Yeah.
that it happened last week.
No, we talked about the guardrails that they.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so see, he's not going to do that, of course. No. And here we are. What a shame. Same with Tim Walz has what did they do? They went out and he played John Madden football with the AOC. I don't know if you heard about that or not, but
who cares?
They're trying to be normal people now, and they're trying to relate to people. But you see Trump, he's sitting there with Rogan. They're talking about sports. They're talking. Trump knows all about Rogan and his past. He knows all about the fighters. You're just not going to have that kind of real conversation with these other people, because I think that they really do look at people as a nuisance, and if you disagree, you're garbage. Unfortunately, and I actually don't believe that Biden meant to say it the way that he said it. I actually believe that he may have been trying to say that that comedian was the bad guy, but it just was a terrible, terrible slip up right there. Because the more I read his statement, the more it sounded like he was trying to say that. The unfortunate thing for Biden is he can't communicate anymore. He cannot communicate. So you put him out there, and he's good. This is bound to happen. He doesn't even know what he's saying. That's the problem.
Sure. Let me tell you a couple of things. There is JD Vance has gotten more and more impressive each time I've listened to him. So when he was on Tim Dillon's podcast last week, Tim Dillon's a comedian who his whole thing is cynicism. So he will say things and you go, I can't believe he said that. Oh, he's not being serious. Well, JD Vance, just on his feet, having a good time, played off of that beautifully, but then could turn that into saying something political about what he believes in. Dude, if tragedy strikes, who do you want to take over the presidency, Vance or Walz? Now, that's rhetorical. Because
it's so crazy, right?
Listen to this question.
Contest.
Do you remember when Walz was trying to use the word weird for Vance?
Yes. I thought about that this morning. Like when I think about these guys talking, I was listening to some JD Vance and Joe Rogan right before, and he was telling a story about how Trump had called him to invite him to be the vice president. It's a funny story, actually. And at the end, both of them are just belly laughing about what happened. And he could tell a great story. And so that's the thing, is that they're so relatable. That's it. And when they ask questions of these two, they answer the question.
Yeah,
they actually answer the question, and it's not game.
They don't have to cover up for their lie about being at Tiananmen Square or being a head coach or whatever the next lie is. And that's the problem with Walz, is just the weakest candidate. I heard somebody say, I don't remember who, it may have been Patrick Bet-David, but they said, look, this started happening with Obama. Obama chose Biden because he didn't want somebody that would overshadow him.
That's right.
Biden chose Kamala because he didn't want somebody to overshadow him. Kamala, this is how we got Walz.
That's exactly how we got Walz, because there were way better choices that she could have made, but they would have appeared better than her. And see, this comes back to a character issue here. People that have high character as leaders will surround themselves with people that they believe are better than them, smarter than them, and they are not intimidated by that. Just like Mark Cuban said, Trump would be intimidated by smart women around him. What do you? Are you kidding me?
What?
That's what he said.
I know. I had that queued up. We don't need to listen to that.
And here you have some of the smartest people in the world that are around him right now, including women and men. And so this has become an interesting thing. It's like when you're out of gas, that's when you invoke Hitler. And, the 1938 thing at Madison Square Garden, which had nothing to do with what Trump was doing at Madison Square Garden. Gosh, the Democrats even had the Democrat National Convention at Madison Square Garden in 1992 with Clinton. Nobody talked about, this is just like in 1938 when Hitler. I mean, It's
Yeah.
like you're out of gas here. And one last thing I'll say is that, you see Kamala up there talking about unity, and I would let the difference between me and Trump is I would let people that vote for Trump sit at the table with me. Really? You would let garbage sit at the table with you,
right?
With our fascist views, really?
Deplorables? Come on.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say we're going to have unity, but the person you're going to vote for is a fascist and the supporters are garbage. You can't have it both ways.
No.
But when you see these Democrats that are attracted to what the Trump campaign is talking about, you got RFK Jr. over there. You've got what was her name? Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, come on.
How about dumb women surrounding Trump?
Tulsi Gabbard is one of the smartest, sharpest women out there, but they hate her. Hillary called her a Russian agent, for God's sake.
Of course Hillary did. God,
I mean, listen to the things Hillary is saying. How can anyone
put her on the air again? You got to kill your ratings putting her on the air.
Gosh, Barry, and you take a look at, as we're heading into, this big Tuesday next week, we've got all kinds of issues that are going on with the vote right now. In Colorado, you've got this whole thing where the Secretary of State accidentally let all the passcodes for the voting machines out on their website. It was like, if this is the same person that was trying to take Trump off of the ballot in Colorado. I'm sure it was a mistake, though. You've got these things happening in Pennsylvania right now, where I've got film of people being threatened to be arrested because they're wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat.
Yes,
and standing in line.
Dude, you're talking about that one hillbilly. He was definitely at fault in that. You're not supposed to have political shirts, anything in that. He was an idiot.
But being arrested, getting arrested.
He was belligerent. No, he was in the wrong.
We must not have seen the same video.
It could be something different. I saw a big fat hillbilly with his MAGA hat or whatever.
No, you never actually see the guy in the video.
Okay.
So you only see his hat. He was very polite. And he was wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. I'm sorry.
It's not supposed to be allowed.
Okay, so
it's not.
You can't.
I understand it. It works both ways, dude.
What do you? Well, hold on.
You can't have any campaign.
Hang on a second. At the exact same place, people had BLM shirts on and other things. So
that's equal. That should not be allowed either.
That's what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that it's only picking on MAGA. If you've got a Kamala Harris thing on, you didn't get kicked out of that. It was only if you had MAGA. That's what the problem is. If it was everybody, it wouldn't be a problem.
It'd be interesting to see a couple, if we could do this all over again, to have couples go in, one with the Kamala thing and one with American Great Again, and just debate people, film it, and see how that goes.
Well, I think it's interesting because we actually have seen that throughout the year, where people come over to a Trump gathering wearing Harris paraphernalia. They're welcomed. They're treated with respect. In fact, I
saw that video a couple days ago.
Over. Yeah. And then I see where if you wear like anything Trump and go into a Kamala Harris thing, people will
possibly rip the shreds
you up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a big difference between the two supporting groups here,
for sure.
And I think
one is told that Hitler is at stake here.
I mean, if you're hearing that Hitler is going to destroy your country and the world over and over,
you might be inciting an assassination attempt.
You're definitely inciting that, and they know that they're doing that, and that's really the sick part of what's going on. I really hope by next week we have this all settled and that we can get on with our lives. And
I already voted.
I know you had a crazy experience, is what it sounded like.
Yes. Yeah. It was simply that I was in this very long line going around the building. I took a picture. Did I send that to you?
No, I didn't.
I sent it to Lisa. Little did I know is once I got around that building, there was another big long corner to go along.
No way.
Then I go inside, and the entire interior of the building are those roped off lines that where you get like cattle up and down.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a 2-hour extravaganza experience.
No.
It was awful. If I was to do it again, I'd wait till Tuesday because I heard that that's a breeze. But you know what? I'm done. It's over with. So that's good. I want to say one last thing. This is going back a few minutes. I listened to Eric Trump. As I heard Trump on Rogan, I heard Vance on whatever. And I just the other day heard Eric Trump on whatever podcast. That was the most impressive of all of them.
Really?
Yeah, dude, he is eloquent as can be, as human and down to earth as can be. Totally humanized his father. He told us things like how he was brought up, and like you think that he's got a silver spoon in his mouth. He's like, oh my God. He goes, to earn your way into the company, if you earn your way into this company, he goes, I was pulling wire with electricians when I was 11 years old.
I can believe that.
Very
can believe
true.
that Trump was a tough dad to please.
And I had to do an A+ job on every job I did in order to move up at all. And he goes, I'm really thankful for that.
See, he helped them my dad did the same kind of stuff for me.
I know.
So awesome.
That's
I love that.
the best parenting, and it's a lost art. Total
really
lost art. Yeah, go ahead.
We're coming up on a hard stop here, and I had something funny I wanted to show, or at least I thought it was pretty interesting. I want to just get it in here. If now my computer is not cooperating. Oh, this. It's a World Series.
Oh yes.
Go ahead. The craziest thing right here is this catch that the guy from the Dodgers makes.
Dude,
look at this guy.
Glove. Other dude holds Mookie's hand and he grabs the ball out. Never seen that before.
I would have pulled that guy out of the stands, dude. Now, what do you know what happened with that? Everybody saw that, but what did they call that? Like not a catch?
No, it was an out. Yeah, they did call that an out. Good. And also they kicked those two guys out and told them that they couldn't come to the next game, which never happened anyway because the Yankees took game 5 in Los Angeles 2 nights later, and it was all over. Los Angeles wins the World Series. Well, you would think the Los Angeles people would be happy about that, but they rioted and tore their city down.
I didn't know that.
Only Los Angeles can.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
It's crazy, man.
Oh.
Anyway, that's that.
Jeez, I know that we're rushing and we got to go. I hate to go because I feel like we're just getting started.
I know.
I do hate to go. That was a good share. I forgot all about that. I paid no attention to the World Series.
That time of year. I didn't either, but I saw that. And it was like, that's what happens if you go to New York. A couple of bandits are going to rip you off just like that. They're going to take the ball right out of your glove and then try to take your glove too.
Right.
That's what it's become over there.
So officially between now and next Friday, November 7th will fall 6 days from now, Thursday, which is officially our 5th year anniversary for the show. Wanted to say thank you and happy 5th year anniversary, Merle. So this is our quick celebration of that. It's been something, and we've grown tremendously during this time.
And I also want to say thanks to our fans that have been watching all along, and we definitely have more like family instead of fans. People have followed us all 5 years and watched and encouraged us. We really appreciate you, and keep on watching and throw some comments in there too. We love that we live for that kind of thing.
Yeah, please subscribe and
share our show with other people. Yeah,
definitely. Apple Podcast, sign up, give us a 5 Apple rating, please, and go to over50startingover.com. Sign up to our email list. You'll get all this with the links and everything right to your email box as it happens. With that, got to go. Hope you all have a great weekend. Love you all.